but it was like a really like shocking moment hearing about like the rapture. So, I remember going back home and dusting off this Bible that my mother had on the top of her. It was on the top of a shelf, like a five bookshelf or whatnot, 5 tier bookshelf,
Yeah.
and it was white with gold pages, and
Everybody knows that Bible.
it was like that's like that. It was just that it was that one Bible in the house. So alhamdulillah, I knew where it was. I knew where it was, and I went and got it, and I started reading it. Started reading it from page one, and I stopped because I didn't really understand it. It was just like, oh man, I
Yeah.
can't,
Yeah.
I can't grab none of this stuff. I mean, but then but I started going to church by myself. Um, started going to church with my one of my friends, and it was funny because it was a Spanish church. They spoke nothing but Spanish, but I was in there, and
Yeah.
they were doing, they were clapping, they were dancing, they were singing songs, but I was in there, and they were speaking Spanish and whatnot. I was in there, and I went there like probably like 2 or 3 times. I didn't go there all, like every time, but
Yeah.
I went there a few times, and then I stopped going there because it was like I
You
don't
don't
speak Spanish.
understand
I can't.
it.
Yeah, it was cool, but so as I was always now I would say back in the day I was always religious in my heart,
Mm.
but now I would say I was always superstitious in my heart,
Yeah.
and it was more like certain things that I would do just so I know that I would think that God protects me by doing these things,
Yeah.
and it would just I would do that. I would wear a cross, you know just because I want to be identified as somebody that you know
Yeah.
worships God, but the cross is a symbol of a religion, and I just I put
You was
that
out there
on,
reaching. You was, yeah.
and
Oh.
yeah, I was just doing whatever, like I was going to church. I still like going to church, but I mean I would, yeah, like I got baptized too around like 7, 8. So that was it was just a regular experience. Like everything was like I didn't really have a feeling in church. It was more so when I was living my life, going through stuff.
Mm.
That's when I really felt the presence of God.
Yeah.
So fast forward, um, I went on to go to school, and I lived my life. I wasn't, after a while I stopped thinking about it.
Yeah.
It was just living my life now, and I would still do like little things here and there. Like I was always like a spiritual person, anyways. Always like lighthearted, soft spoken. So it was always in my demeanor, and to be nice and to help people. Um, so yeah, that was just I just lived my life like that, and lived my life like as a good person, as a good person would.
Yeah.
So and for me, that was good for me. And then as I started getting older, um, what was a real significant point? So hanging out with my friends. I was hanging out with my friends, and one particular guy I hung out with, he was a smart guy, really smart. Always, he knows the facts about everything. He's always trying to look up stuff. He was that dude, and he was just like always like about looking up stuff. And he was still a street dude. Like he was like hardcore street, but at the same time he was like it was weird. Like
Hey, yo, nah. Look, I get it. That's what I used to love about New York, man. Because New York is full of that.
yeah,
Like real
yeah,
intelligent, but real street. you know.
yeah. He was. he he moved from Jersey, but he my but he's just like just knowledge and but it didn't have any it didn't have spirit like it wasn't really like he knew a lot about the Bible. He knew a lot about the Bible, but it wasn't like he was like preaching the Bible every
Yeah.
5 minutes. But he put that in me to like to research it, to find it out yourself.
Mm.
You know, he put that back in me. I would say. I mean, I would say he put it in me because I was going through my life doing school stuff, and that was my only means of seeking knowledge was through the education system.
Yeah.
So after I was done with that, it was like a job. I clocked in for that, did my time for that, and then when I clocked out, it was just like my time.
Yeah.
But it wasn't filled with research or looking up stuff I want and really finding out information. So I started doing that, and some stuff that happened where I was in a new place, new environment, um, new surroundings. I was uprooted. God uprooted me from a particular place, and then when he moved me, planted me on where I was at, I was basically brand new. I had a new, nobody knew who I was, what I did, what was going on. So I just, I basically just, lived my life in my own space. Yeah, I was still like, doing my vices and not really thinking nothing of it. Just doing my vices, but doing within the comfort of my space.
Yeah.
And then I met a couple guys, and one dude in particular I would always see him around, and we as dudes you just recognize somebody, you say what up, and after a while we just started talking, and he was really like direct and spiritual about God. Like everything he talked about went back to God. It always circled back, no matter what. So I found that intriguing. I was just like, okay, I was interested in we shared common likes in music. So naturally we just got together, and what I liked was we got together, and it wasn't like on some like pressure type stuff. It was just like we got together, we did what we did, we made music, and that was it. You know what I mean? Like, and as I started, hanging out with him more, I hung out. He hung out with a group of other people, and they were all about the same thing. Like it was just like it felt like it wasn't even like like I was praying to it. I was just living my life, like being good and living my life. But God put me in a position to either accept or reject something, because these were as a group of guys. These brothers were different, like completely different from everyone else. Like everyone else I encountered, they were different from that. And because they went really deep and spiritual with everything that they spoke about, like everything tied back to nature and God, and it was a macro and it was a micro. They went from the micro to the macro and back again with all aspects: political, economical, religion, the entertainment, like whatever topic, and coming from the background of hanging out with my guy that just, he's street, but he's about his knowledge too. Like I kind of gravitated to that, and it was a no-brainer for me because I wasn't really doing anything. Like I was just hanging out, you know, doing whatever. And so I took a trip. I had also took a trip, but this is an in-state trip. Took a trip. I mean, out-of-state trip. So I took a trip and um, was hanging out with a couple of my old friends. And you know, when you hang out with old friends, like you do old stuff,
Yeah.
do all the old stuff. So you know, it was just you know, it wasn't like too crazy, but as I was coming back, and oh, before I took that trip, um, one of the brothers handed me a Quran, you know, and this was before this, 3, 4, 5 months before the trip. God knows that.
Mm.
Handed me a Quran. And he's like, hey, you know, whenever you get a chance, check it out. You know, these were like, yeah, and I didn't really like think nothing of Islam. Like I knew people that they were Muslim, but they weren't like post sticking it on their forehead.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's not like you know,
Like,
you
you
didn't
go
really
to the
think
corner
nothing.
store and you meet that random
Not
old
even,
head black dude.
yeah, but not only that, like I like my friends, like growing up in
uh,
my life, I had a lot of Muslim friends too that just you know, it never really dawned on me.
yeah.
Nothing really dawned on me. I was kind of living my life like a free spirit, and like I would say today it's like an airhead, like just
Right?
floating around, just you know, hanging out, meeting people. You know, I was when I sensed danger, you know, I would my guards would be up and I would be alert. But if there was if you know I was a kid, I felt you know felt like everything was good.
Yeah.
If I felt like that, then it would just be regular. So he handed me this book, and I sat on this book for a while, and I went on the trip. I took the book with me because I'm always like, all right, I'm gonna take a book with me, you know, on
Yeah.
the trip. So I took the book with me, like still in my spiritual self, um, just being like that, and so I didn't read it on the way, but on the way back I started reading it, and that's when it like the world came down on me, like it just the whole thing just flipped completely.
Yeah.
Um, I was reading the words and they were so clear, like it was like drinking water,
SubhanAllah.
and it was so fluent, like it just all meshed together like so perfectly, and it wasn't even like poetic. It was just like it felt like I was being talked to, you
SubhanAllah.
know,
Yeah.
like somebody was talking to me and talking to me in a way that like laying out for me in a way that I can understand how to go about what I'm trying to do,
Yeah.
or what I'm trying, or who or my God that I'm trying to connect with. Um, and I'm bouncing around right now, but like during my well, actually, I'm not bouncing around. So yeah, so I read the book. It struck me in a way that I couldn't deny it. It was like no turning back now. Like this is it. And I came back and I went back to the dorm that I was in,
Mm-hmm.
in the school that I was at, where I just didn't know anybody, and that and from there on I was you know I was like, hey, whatever you guys are doing, I want in, like. And I was doing other stuff. I was, you know, trying to join organizations, trying to join fraternities, trying to join. I guess I wanted to be a part of something,
Mm-hmm.
so I could make my impact in this world. I was always big on history growing up, and still am. Like I'm a big history guy, and I just wanted that to be, you know.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, whatever you guys are on, like, put me on, and it was I didn't really understand it. I definitely didn't understand what was to come. But after reading the book, it was just like, there's no way I'm not gonna do this. Like,
Yeah.
I've done the other stuff. I've done the other stuff. Let's try something new now.
Yeah.
Um, so it was like a ceremonial, kind of semi-ceremonial. I didn't become Muslim in the masjid like a lot of brothers um
Yeah.
did. It was more so. It was more. I became a Muslim in a dorm in Long Island, New York, and just the like, just even in that sense, it was like wow, like that's something completely
Different.
that's different from like
Yeah.
other converts. Yeah, it's different. And it was through like hardcore Muslim brothers that I just so happened to run into. And they weren't bashful about their religion. They were just like direct about it. Like, I am a Muslim. This is what I practice. You know. So, and I was getting signed too. I would say I was getting signed even before coming up to that point. Um, so it was just like, just following the script, really sticking to the script. After I converted for 3 days, like, all I could see, like, in my eyes, like, my vision was, I could see everything in Earth, but everything was like gold.
Yeah. It
Like,
had that glow.
it just looked, it was like a gold tint on my
Yeah.
eyes. For 3 days straight, I was just like looking around, like I didn't know where I was. No, I
Like you
knew
had just
exactly
woke
where I
up.
was. It was like and it looked like I had shades on, like gold tinted shades.
SubhanAllah. I believe that.
Imagine that, like,
I believe
but
that.
you don't have shades on. It's like you just looking.
Yeah.
So I'm like, whoa, like, this is I done struck gold. Like, this is what I'm looking for.
Right? SubhanAllah.
And
I think you said it as being me being woke. So, excuse me. But yeah, I agree. It felt really, really different. So from then on, I just started digging into it. Like, I was knee deep in Islam and the practices. I was learning about other religions and the religion that I came from. Um, I I just, was just engulfed in it, and I just started to really enjoy it and really like it. So it made me wanna research and look up more and find out more. And I went and went and did that, and ultimately put me down a path that was much different from what I was going through. Yeah, my voice just cleaned up pretty nice, but much different from what I was going through. Um, there is there are a lot of things that are in play when you're dealing with life, and one of the main things is spirituality and your connection with God. And with me, I always wanted that connection with God, and I didn't think of anything else being God but the Creator, the Almighty. As I started doing research, I noticed that um, in other religions there are, people worship many gods. People, people worship man as God. But with being a Muslim, you and the history that's in the book, the Quran, of the messengers that came before us, they all preached one God and worship of one God, the Almighty, the one that is not like us. Um, he is like unto us, but he's not like us. And what that means is, God is merciful and we could be merciful. So we're similar in that way. God is most merciful, though. He has the most mercy on his creation than we could ever have, than a mother could have for her child. But it's a mother and a child. Mercy is up there, but God is most merciful. And I was practicing, and what made me kind of get away from the Islamic religion was the many differences, situation. A lot of times I would go to places and they would tell me not to go other places, and a lot of times I would speak with brothers and they would be like, well, don't rub elbows with these brothers, or these guys aren't right. A lot of back and forth, a lot of division, and I know that Allah does not like division. Allah doesn't like his followers to be split, and there was a lot of that. There is a lot of that going on. I mean, you see it in the Middle East, you see it in America, you see it all across the world. You have 72 different sects of Islam, and they all read off of one book, and they all think that they're on the right way, and they all think that they're the sect that's going to paradise. And for me, I wasn't raised in that. I didn't grow up in any sect. I came from the outside, so I was an outsider, piercing in, and that was one of the main reasons why I decided to worship God, and my connection with God is solely with me, and God gave me a book of instructions to follow, which is the Quran, and that book basically lays out how to live life and how to react to certain things. A lot of it is dialogue. A lot of it is history of messengers that came before. There are familiar characters in the book. You have Jesus and Moses and Abraham and all these people that existed in other religions, and a Muslim is no different. And I look at the Quran as being the final draft, the master's cut, the third installment, the seal, the conclusion of everything, kind of like just to sum everything up. The Quran is not tampered with like other religious books. But other religious books do have purpose and meaning and direction, but there are things in those books that kind of raise questions to what is actually being worshipped, and what people are being leaned towards, and what people are following. And we all know the history, and if not, we can get into that in another video. But that was mainly my decision, and I made a sound decision to stop doing rituals, to open the Quran every day, to read it, and to connect with my Lord, to pray to my Lord, to speak with my Lord every day, to be in constant communication with my Lord. And it's the
If you like this video, you found it helpful, don't subscribe, just open the book, read the Quran.